Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Benchwarmers Podcast. In this week's episode, I'm delighted to be joined by Weymouth winger Joan Luque. Juan, how are you?
I'm really good. Just chilling now because we've got two weeks off now. Well, 2 weeks off. 2 weeks with no games. So just to get it right, like preparing to get right for whenever we're back.
Yeah. I think I'm not too sure where Weymouth are in the table. I think you're doing decent search first season in the National League as well. But anyway, we'll get straight into it, and obviously we'll get onto all that. But starting off, obviously, you were born in Barcelona. You joined their academy at age 11 to 13. What was it like being in what is debatably one of the best academies in the world?
Well, it was a dream for a kid. Even I'm a Madrid supporter. I mean, it's a dream when you're young and your dad comes to you and says, you've got this club interested in you. And two of the names of those clubs are the biggest clubs in Barcelona, which are Espanyol and Barça. And obviously, as a kid, you go to the biggest one. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Like, I've learned a lot, obviously known many players like that now are on the top. But it came to an end, and obviously, like you were saying, like went to another academies, always playing at the top levels. So at the end of the day, I've always played against the better players of my age, and loads of them have made it to the top. Loads like me, we haven't, but everyone has his own path. So, but yeah, it's just an experience that you remember for your whole life, I think.
Yeah, and I know it was a very long time ago. Obviously, you were 11 years old when you played for them. But was there anyone else in that academy who's gone on to have a decent career?
Yeah, like for example, Matt Muniesa will be known.
Oh yeah.
Top player, for example, that's one of them. Like Sergio Roberto, I didn't get to play with him because he joined straight after I left. But I've always played against him. Dulofeu, I played against him. Like there's loads of them. Like Montoya, the right back for Brighton. I know him as well, for example.
Oh, wow.
There's quite a lot.
Yeah, so you've actually come up against some like very well-known players, haven't you?
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No. I mean, I know loads of players that now are playing on the top, like from playing against or playing with them. So,
yeah. And obviously, like you mentioned, you were in several academies. You were, again, apologies for I've said this before the podcast, but my pronunciation of some of these Spanish teams isn't going to be great. But Dan, Gramenet, Europa, and Cornellà, you've obviously played in several academies. So, how did you find it? Obviously, because you did go on to play for Gramenet's sort of first team, and you played a bit with Cornellà as well. But how did you find the jump from youth football to adult football?
Well, it's a big jump. I think it's the biggest jump in your career, and when you get to know what football is about, because obviously academy football is all like playing football from the back and pressing and movements, and then you go to a team where actually what they demand is points and wins, and it doesn't matter the way at the end of the day, or in most of the teams it doesn't matter the way. So you get to know, like, obviously old people that have had like good careers and they learn you. And that's like, I'm not old, like more than 30, but I'm getting old. And that's why I try to do with young players that like come up from like academies when I'm at a club. So that, but the biggest difference is like physicality, I would say, because everyone's just like man football. So everyone's like man build up like fucking what rope sometimes.
Yeah. And obviously in 2010 as well, you played in the Copa del Rey with Cornella's. Am I right? I think it's the youth team. It's like a youth team Copa del Rey, and you played against Real Madrid youth team. Am I right in thinking that you came up against the likes of Dani Carvajal, Lucas Vázquez, and Paul Sarabia?
Yeah. That's right.
So what was it like playing against Real Madrid then? Because obviously they were. Did you mention before you were a Real Madrid fan?
Yeah, I'm a Madrid fan, and I played against him. So it was just, well, I started on the first leg, so Carvajal made me fucking run the whole time backwards. Like I was just chasing him all the time. But I remember I hit the crossbar, so I was so close to score. But yeah, it's just an experience that I will never forget, because obviously we played at quarterfinals of the Copa del Rey, and we went obviously at home and away. And when we went there, it was just incredible.
Yeah. And you joined Gramener's B team, but you quickly got the call up to their sort of first team.
Yeah.
How did this sort of come about then? Was it a case of you did really well in the B team and then they just called you up, or did you always know you had what it take to play in their first team?
I started on the B team actually. I started on the not reserves because it's different in Spain. They just play like a league below or a couple of leagues below sometimes. And it was just, I started there and I had like 8 goals in like 10, 11 games. So it was an injury in the first team and I called up to go training. And I did well in training. And I just stayed there, played the game, and then in my first 5 games I scored 4, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then that gave me the platform to stay there with them, which was great. But then we changed the manager, and it didn't like the manager just trusted like old people and experienced like players, so I didn't get too many minutes under them. And but yeah, it was fine. I mean, I knew I could play in that level, so it was just a matter of time that I was going to be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And obviously, a lot of the time you played at that level in the Tercera division. I'm right, I think that's the 4th division in Spain.
Sorry?
Is it called the Tercera division, and is it the 4th division in Spain?
Yeah.
So how would you say it's equivalent to England? Like, what league in England would you say is similar to that division, if that makes sense?
It's tough. It's depending. Like big clubs in that league will be, I would say, National League.
Yeah. Maybe, so what sort of level you're at now?
Maybe League 2. Maybe one of them League 2, but then some other class will be like National South.
Yeah.
So it's just tough because the money wise as well, there's no comparison. Like money wise, you will be like Conference South max, I'll say.
Yeah, and from obviously you play for a lot of teams this league, but I want to focus a bit on San Rafael because you played for them for 2 years and you made over 70 appearances for them. How much did you enjoy playing for that club then? Because obviously you played at a number of different clubs throughout the years. You joined them from a B team. How much did you enjoy playing for? Kind pronunciation terrible, but is it San
Rafael? Yeah. No, it was nice. I mean, it was such a nice experience as well. Because it was my first time away from home, and it was just different. Like the atmosphere there was different. Everything was just, I don't know. Ibiza has like something special on the people that live there, and it was quite nice, to be fair. So yeah, I did enjoy it a lot. And football wise, we didn't get to play as good as we could, I think, but like that experience is the first year in Ibiza. I've always say that is one of the best years I've ever had in terms of like the atmosphere at the club, in the changing rooms where we were living as well, because we were living in a building like everyone was in the same building. Not every player, but I would say 10 at least 10 players or 7 players living in the same building. Like there were apartments like for summer, but because on summer, like in winter, there's no one there. They put you in there, so we were living like literally door by door.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, and then you made the move to Yosatense, and I believe that they had just been relegated from the 2nd division to a division you were in. So were they sort of like a big club at the time for you?
Yeah. They were a big club, and they were going for it. So they offered me to go there and obviously to get promoted back to the 2nd division, but we couldn't make it. It didn't happen. But yeah, same. It was like the islands in Spain. I think the atmosphere of the people is just different. So
yeah,
I did enjoy it a lot there. But
yeah,
as I said, like we couldn't like achieve the goals we set at the beginning, which was a shame, to be fair.
Yeah, and you played alongside Jean Pasquale, who got 20 goals that season. You primarily play on the wing, I believe. So how much does it help you having a striker up front who you know is capable of scoring the goals? How much does it help you to have someone up front that you know you can like trust when giving them the ball?
Yeah, that's just like something as a winger you always need. Like you need someone, you're going to give him the ball, he's going to take care of it, or he's going to make it something happen. Because otherwise I'm not going to say try not to pass him, but if you're going to pass him and he's going to lose it, you look for someone else.
Yeah.
Like maybe even if you don't want to, but your conscience is going to, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was good. He was good. He was just banging ball for fun. So he's such a good player. I tried to bring him to England, but he didn't trust it.
Fair enough. And I believe you had links with Biggleswade United as well, who asked you to come to England and play for them. Why did you originally turn that down?
Because it wasn't the time, I think. When they offered me, I had like things to pay, and they were offering only help. I mean, they were gonna help me find a job. They were gonna help me find a flat, but they never offered like any kind of money. And I couldn't risk everything, like, because I had things to pay, like my car, so I couldn't risk my monthly payments or things that I had to pay, because I didn't know what I was gonna, where I was gonna end up, what I was gonna have to face. You know what I mean? So I just thought it wasn't the time, and then I just didn't do it. And to be fair, I think that was a good decision.
Yeah, well, it worked out for the best, because just 1 year later, for the people who obviously watch this and don't know, Juan was one of the 21 players from Spain, Andorra and Argentina, who obviously moved to trained with Heybridge Swifts as part of sort of this initiative thing with Guil and Ramon. So what was your relationship like with Ramon, and did you ever get the chance to meet him? Because obviously he set up this whole thing that brought you to England to play there.
Yeah, no, we played in Gramenet when we were young. Before we played together, and then obviously he just said to me that he was going to make like a kind of a draft of a week, and he explained me, and it sounded good, and I just risked it. So we played together with Heybridge, and it was such a good season. Like, it was the best season ever, in my opinion. Like, for me, it was the best year ever. So.
Yeah, and you've got some quality stats as well whilst at Heybridge with 17 goals and 8 assists. But actually, the not 8 assists, I completely misread that. But anyways, obviously this was a massive for you to move to England. So how difficult was it for you to get over the difficulties of learning a new language, finding a new place to live?
Well, it was quite difficult at the beginning. I mean, I started working in a factory, and they didn't allow me to talk as much. So after a month, I just left, because I was like, the boss was saying, like, if you're talking, you ain't working enough. And I'm like, well, I need to talk some English to learn. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to talk. So I moved to a restaurant as a waiter straight away. And the first 2 days were just fun, because I couldn't understand anything. So I was going to the tables like really lost. But then from there, I started picking up a little bit. And then I just got like to a good level of English, which I think I still have to improve in terms of vocabulary, but it gets me talking to people, and I think it's quite good. But yeah, it was just tough at the beginning. It was just tough at the beginning, but then once you learn a little bit how to communicate, at least for a little conversation, that's enough. And then obviously you end up picking up like words. When you don't know anything, you ask, and you use that word like a couple times, it just sticks to you, you know. But yeah, it was just a tough beginning, I would say, but it was never going to be easy. Even if I go Ibiza, it was not going to, like, it wasn't easy, even with the same language. So it was just a handicap, I would say.
Yeah. How did your family react to you telling them, obviously, you moved to England?
Well, they weren't kind with it. Like, they weren't keen with it, because I said I will always move for a good offer, but I ended up going for like £100 a month. So it wasn't a good offer, but I wanted to try. So I was like, don't worry about the money. If the money has to come, it will come. I just want to play in England. I want to try how football is here. And to be fair, it was the best decision I've ever made.
Yeah. As obviously you mentioned the football as well, because obviously it is very different in England compared to Spain. So how did you find it playing at Heybridge Swifts, where obviously you're in non-league, so a lot of the passes is sort of bumpy, the pitches aren't great, compared to Spain, where obviously it's a lot of flat-footed, just pass it around, compared to the hoofball of England? How did you find the change in football?
Well, I came from Mallorca, and to be fair, in that league, the pitches are like 3G or 4G, but really old, which makes playing football really, really hard.
Yeah.
So obviously to play in grass, it was like it was the best for me. Like at Heybridge as well at home, the pitch was incredibly nice. Like
Yeah.
even more at the beginning, like the first 2-3 months of the season, it was incredible. Then obviously with the rain and the winter, it went a little bit muddy, but I was enjoying a lot playing in grass and playing every week, like 2-3 games a week. It was just something different. And I wasn't even thinking on this pitch is like, because I was used to 3G. I didn't mind, like it's okay. It's like it's grass at the end of the day. Like it's on
Yeah.
your feet. Like if you've got the quality on your feet, it doesn't matter the fucking if it's grass or 3G or a park or sand.
Yeah.
It's just on your feet. So
Still play football. Yeah.
exactly.
And well, we finished fifth with Heybridge Swifts. I think that was just inside the play. Yeah, it was in the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, we lost the semi-final of the playoff. Yeah.
Yeah, you lost 2-0, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2-0, 2-0 or 2-1. I don't remember. But yeah, we
Yeah.
lost. I don't even want to remember.
I'll have a check. But obviously, you played with Matthew Price that season. You got 36 goals in a season, which is incredible. How good of a player was Price to play with?
Yeah, he was good. I mean, he wasn't tidy of the ball on the ball. He's just those strikers that just score for fun. Like he might not do nothing, but he's proper English. Like he will get in the box and he will fight with anyone, and he will just score. Like long ball, he will just make it like worth. You know what I mean? A little long ball with no danger at all. He would just chase it and make something from it.
Yeah.
So he was really good. He was really good, and I was impressed that he didn't get like a bigger move because really he's got really like a lot of goals to be fair.
Yeah, but talking about bigger moves, you obviously got your move to Lincoln, but how did this come about? I know that you went on trial before you were eventually signed, so how did the actual trial come about?
Well, I had a contract agreed with Newport before, but something happened in between the clubs and it just didn't work out. And obviously I went on trial there and I went pre-season. I did the whole pre-season with them, and then they said that they were going to sign me, and I was just buzzing from it. Like it was just like my dream came true. I obviously became a professional, and I thought I could deserve more chances that the ones I had, but I think I took the chance I had. Obviously at Blackburn away, scoring in the early game, I played in my position with them. And I just have loads of memories in there. The shame was that they only signed me for 6 months, and I couldn't leave the experience of like winning the trophy because obviously they won it.
Yeah,
so that would have been just incredible.
Yeah, definitely would have been. But speaking of that Blackburn game, before when I was doing my research for this podcast, I watched your goal on YouTube. And I want to ask you about your celebration because you sort of did. It's called Take the L, where you.
Yeah. Because
what was that about?
Yeah, no, it's just by the time I was playing loads of Fortnite with my friends, and we had a joke like the first goal I score, I will do that. And obviously, when I knew I was going to start, I was just talking to them, and I was like, if I score, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, no way you're going to do that in that stadium. And I'm like, yeah, I will do it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Well,
it looked good in the pictures where the photographers looking right and you get to do that. But obviously at Lincoln as well, you worked alongside Danny Cowley. He's currently manager of Portsmouth, but he's known for being one of the best managers in the Football League technically. So what was it like working alongside Cowley?
Well, he was really a manager of details. Like he tried to have everything under control, like every set play, every throw in, every little thing on the game. And he was quite motivational as well. Like his motivation levels, like he transmitted really well the motivation to the players, I would say.
Yeah.
And obviously we had a really, really nice team, so that make it like a little bit easier for him. But yeah, I think he's a good manager because he won the league, he got promoted, then he got his move, and now he's at Portsmouth as well. And I think he started really well.
Yeah, I think he's had a quite good start there. But I was also wondering because obviously you played at Heybridge Swifts, where I'm not too sure what their attendances are, but I imagine it isn't too big in non-league. And I don't think the attendance in Spain were too big either. But at Lincoln, obviously, they've got some of the best fans in the Football League for the amount they get, how loud they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was it like playing in front of the Lincoln fans?
Well, that was incredible. That's the best memory I have from Lincoln, like playing there and people just cheering you, and it was just incredible. I mean, those memories are the best one from Lincoln, I would say. Like, I will always remember how they shouted "yes" when I scored. Like, that's in my mind. Like, and every time I look at the video, it's like I can't believe it. Like, I hope they were in that end, you know what I mean, so I could hear them louder. But it was just incredible. And every game, like every home game, it was like 9,000 to 10,000, and it was just loud, really, really loud, noisy. Like, it was just incredible.
And I'm right. I think it's also Lincoln where whenever they get a corner, they use some sort of horn or something like that.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts towards that when you first heard it?
I was like, what's going on? Like, why do you do this? But then obviously we scored a couple, and okay, yeah, I understand now.
Yeah, I think it's a bit strange, but anyway, you had a loan spell at Bromley. I believe that they play on a 3G or a 4G or 3G pitch anyway. So, how did you feel like when you were playing that pitch? It was a bit more, not saying Spanish, but like your football.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Did you feel like more adapted to it?
I'd rather play in grass, to be fair, because if the grass is okay, obviously. But yeah, 3G, if it's a good 4G, it's easier to have a touch or to make a pass, and the accuracy I think is better.
Yeah.
But the bounces and that, it can be a bit weird sometimes.
Yeah, I think grass works better anyways, but it depends on
same with me,
sort of structure of it. But you had to move to Concord Rangers when your contract at Lincoln came to an end. How did this sort of come about then? Because obviously, I don't think Lincoln and Concord are too near each other. But how did this move come about?
Well, I knew Adam Drill because he was at Heybridge with us, and he was like, "Just come here, get some minutes, and get back in the league." And I was like, "Let's do it." Yeah. And obviously, I played like 12 games, I think, or 15 games. I scored 5 and assisted 5, so it was like good numbers. Obviously, after 6 months with no minutes at all, or like only 3 games in like 6 months with Lincoln, I had to pick up a little bit the fitness levels, and then after that, I started like doing well. And obviously, I got the move to Dagenham.
Yeah, but before I got into Dagenham, I just want to ask, because obviously Concord got the playoffs but weren't allowed in because of the stadium. How frustrating was this for you as a player?
Well, I don't even want to remember. I think like it's just you're buzzing for at the moment, obviously, and they didn't want to tell us before, so we won, we celebrated, and then on a Thursday we got called up with the chairman, and he just explained the situation, and he was like, "Fucking hell, you should have said this like ages ago, because otherwise, like, it makes no sense."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't really plan ahead, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Or just be straight with people, but at least we made the playoffs, so you know what I mean.
Yeah, and like you said, you got your move to Dagenham. What was it like playing under the Daryl McMahon? Because obviously he's still there to this day, and he's a very good manager.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I haven't played under Daryl because since he came on, since he came in, I didn't play at all. Well, I played under Peter Taylor, so
okay, yeah,
and he's just an experienced manager, like old school, but we weren't getting the results we should sometimes, because the football is like this sometimes. Like, you deserve a result, and then suddenly you can see the easy goal or like a silly goal at the end. And that was sort of the whole campaign for that season at Dagenham. And since Daryl came in, I didn't play at all. So, and obviously after that year, he made me leave the club. So,
how did you find it playing in the National League then? Cause obviously, it's quite a step up from the National League South.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a big step up. It's just to be fair, I think football-wise, in National League South, they play better football than in National League. National League is more like competitive, more physical. But football-wise, people try to play more in National League South. So, but yeah, it's just I thought I was doing well, but obviously Darrow didn't think the same.
It happens to the managers.
Yeah, I know.
But that was also the season where unfortunately COVID struck and it kind of disrupted everything. So how did this affect you personally? Did you try to stay fit throughout all of lockdown and everything like that?
Yeah, I went back to Spain to be with my family because obviously it was a massive thing, and I was scared as well. And I wanted to be close to my family and friends. And obviously I came back for pre-season, done my pre-season as well in Spain to come back as fit as possible. And then got to sign to Maidstone and did really well for them, and got the move here.
Yeah, and then obviously that Maidstone as well, because I was having a little read of what the manager said when you actually left Maidstone. But he said that if you ever, for whatever reason, don't have a club, you could always just pick up the phone, call him, and he'd have a club straight away. So as a player, how good does that feel to you, knowing that you've got a manager like that who rates you so highly?
Yeah, that's just something that I have to appreciate. But at the same time, it's just something I've maybe earned because of how I've been as a person and obviously as a player there. So that's something to be proud of, but something to appreciate as well to hack. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got your move to Weymouth. What was that like then? Because obviously I know right now with the National League North and South being cancelled, there's a lot of players moving to the National League. Was that sort of what happened with you?
Yeah, no. I moved because I was in a better place personally, and obviously I wanted to play back in the National League, but I don't think it's working as I would like to, or going as I would like to, or as I expect to. But still we've got out the relegation zone, which was the aim when I signed. So at the moment we're doing the job.
Yeah, and how good?
Even there's no relegation though.
Well, yeah, but it's still a big positive to get out the relegation zone. How have you found it as well playing under Brian Stockton as well? Because obviously this is his first season with Weymouth as well. So how have you found it playing under him?
Well, I think I played in the 10, so I haven't played in my position, to be fair. And I just find it a little bit hard to play in the number 10 when maybe the team is not playing out from the back really in between the lines. So because you don't get the ball as much, and then you can't affect the game as you would if you're on the ball. But he's just a good manager, I think. He's proven it, like getting us out of a relegation zone. So
yeah, definitely. And obviously earlier on you said about Lincoln and how good their fans were. How excited are you for fans to come back in and eventually you can obviously play under Weymouth fans?
Yeah, I'm just like I'm begging for fans to come back because it just makes such a big difference. In at least in myself, like when I get the ball and I hear the fans, it's just different. Like you feel like you have to do something and you end up doing something. And and I just want them back as soon as possible.
Yeah. And would you say there's any players at Weymouth who you've particularly been impressed by? And that's a bit of a broad question, but
yeah, I think the keeper is really good. Like he's really sharp. It's a shame he's now injured, but when he came back from injury last time, it was just the sharpness and the determination of him is just different, I think.
Yeah. And so the last sort of question from me then, because this is again a bit of a broad question, but I was just curious in general. What would you say your sort of proudest moment is across your career?
Sorry?
Your proudest moment across your career?
I would say Blackburn away.
That goal.
Yeah, I would say. Like there's a couple obviously making the playoffs with the Concord, like 2 seasons in a row. The first 2 seasons in England, then obviously in Spain making the Copa del Rey. There's a couple. Like after that year, my first senior year was we saved the season at the last game as well. The relegation, we got out the relegation at the last game, so it was just mental as well. I don't know, like there's many moments. Like it's been a long career at the moment.
Yeah. Actually, I forgot to ask this as well because I asked whichever everyone who comes to the podcast this. But do you have any interest in potentially going to coaching or management when your career comes to an end?
Yeah. I've done it already. When I was in Spain, I've coached for 8 years.
Oh, okay.
So, and the last time it was at Josetense, and I was coaching under 19s. So it wasn't a joke. I mean, they're not like 12 like kids. I was actually like managing Mans, and I really enjoyed it. So that's one of the things I miss the most now, because obviously I'm not coaching here. So hopefully next season I can do some.
Would you be considering going back to Spain then to potentially see if they've got any coaching jobs eventually when your career does end?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to bring an end to this week's episode of the Benchwarmers Podcast. As usual, I'd like to have a guest this week, Joan Luque. Joan, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for asking me, and it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'll see you all next week.